It looks like it's working, Sylvia.
Yeah, I just got the notification. Can you make me the host?
Mm-hmm. So now we're live. Okay, you're the host now.
All right, welcome everybody. Looks like a few more people are joining. I'll just wait about 30 more seconds. Okay. So hello and welcome to our second public community meeting on Temecula Parkway's pipeline replacement project. My name is Sylvia Ornelas. I'm the public information specialist here at Rancho Water, and I'm going to be facilitating our virtual meeting today. So thank you to everybody for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us this evening. I would like to quickly go over some of our housekeeping rules. So first, today's presentation will be recorded. So if you want to review it afterwards, or if you think someone else would be interested in seeing it, it will be available. It's also going to be live streamed on our YouTube page, so you will be able to find it there as well. I would encourage you to have a paper and pen available so you can jot down notes or write down questions that may come up. We do ask that you hold all your questions until all three presenters are finished, just in case they answer the topic or concern you may have. So during registration, you were asked questions and you were able to express any concerns. And so those will be addressed today during the meeting as well. I wanted to bring your attention at this time to the bottom of your screen to the Q&A feature. We ask that you utilize the Q&A box if you have a question, and we will address them in the order they come in at the end of all presentations. So at this time, I would like to introduce our three speakers. Our first speaker is Jacob Wiley, who is our engineering manager.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, like Sylvia said, I'm the engineering manager at Rancho California Water District. I've been with the district for about 10 years, registered civil engineer in the state of California. I've been so for about 20 years, and really seen this project through really its planning all the way through the design and now into construction. So happy to present this to you tonight and hopefully shed some light on what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce our contracts manager, Casey Arndt.
Good evening. My name is Casey. I'm the construction contracts manager with Rancho. I bring together more than 20 years of construction inspection and management experience. So I'm very familiar with these types of projects. One of the biggest projects I've ever worked on was the Carlsbad desalination project. So very familiar with installing large pipeline projects in major thoroughfares. And I will do everything I can in my power to have me and my team manage this project as best I can.
Thank you, Casey. And our third speaker is our Public Information Officer, Grace Cardenas.
Hi, I'm Grace Cardenas, Public Information Officer at Rancho Water, and our job is to keep you informed throughout the duration of the project. So we plan to do that in a number of ways, and I can explain more about that later.
Great. So thank you for those introductions. I'm going to turn it back over to Jake, and he can go ahead and begin our presentation for this evening. And we're going to go ahead and put up a slide.
So yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about the Temecula Parkway pipeline replacement project. Do you have the first slide, Grace, the infrastructure slide?
I think we're going to play the video first.
Okay, we're going to play the video first. Actually, our public relations video, it's probably a good thing instead of me fumbling through trying to describe the project to you. The video that Grace is about to show does a great job of really taking you through the project, why we're doing it, what we're doing, the different phases, and really kind of how it impacts and really importance of the project as well. So with that, I'll leave it to the video and Grace.
Okay.
In November 2020, Rancho Water will start construction on the Temecula Parkway pipeline replacement project. The project will replace nearly 8,000 feet of recycled water pipeline running under Temecula Parkway between Bedford Court and Rancho Pueblo Road, which translates to just over 1.5 miles of purple pipeline. This pipeline has an essential role. It delivers recycled water for irrigation and landscaping to the community's beloved parks, large and small businesses along Temecula Parkway, golf courses, and schools. The pipeline will be replaced on Temecula Parkway in 4 phases, moving from west to east. Construction will take place on Temecula Parkway in the westbound lanes. The eastbound lanes will stay open. During construction, westbound Temecula Parkway will be reduced down to 1 lane, while access to neighborhoods and businesses will be maintained at all times. Traffic delays are expected on Temecula Parkway. Alternate routes are available in all phases, with the exception of Phase 1. Construction will start November 2020 and is anticipated for completion in May 2021. We've tried to make construction as easy as possible for the community through a compressed construction schedule and longer daily construction hours, so we can avoid the disruption of multiple road closures spread over a longer construction period. You might be wondering why Rancho is doing this work now. The pipeline has become corroded over the past 20+ years and needs to be replaced. It is being replaced now with an upgraded, stronger material to avoid potential for future pipeline breaks, which are expensive and impactful for the community. We'd rather deal with the impact of construction now, rather than frequent unplanned inconveniences that will only continue as the pipeline gets older. The more we use recycled water for things like irrigation and landscaping, the more water is available to district customers for drinking, cooking, laundry, baths, or showers. The Temecula Parkway Pipeline Replacement Project offset enough water to provide drinking water for 16,000 people per year, which is about 10% of Rancho's service area. We're committed to keeping you informed throughout the project construction. Stay informed. Visit our website at ranchowater.com/pipeline to sign up for email alerts and follow us on Facebook.
So hopefully that gives you a good overview of the project. Really just wanted to give you a little background really on the district and our infrastructure. And the district's about 55 years old, actually over 55 years old now. And it's really grown with the community. We obviously experienced rapid growth along with the growth that occurred, in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s in particular. And so while that doesn't seem terribly long ago, really we're talking about infrastructure that's, getting 30, 40 plus years old. And while we do expect much of our buried infrastructure, we own and operate over 900 miles of buried pipeline. We expect those pipelines to last well beyond that, well beyond 50 years. We also expect that we are going to start to see some issues, and really we've seen those here on Temecula Parkway. All these photos that you see in this slide are actually the pipeline that we will be replacing. It's a cement mortar line and coated steel pipeline, 20-inch in diameter. And you can see some of the issues we've seen, mainly corrosion, and you can see the impacts too. The picture up on the top right is one of the breaks that's occurred. There's been 7 breaks since 2012, really major leaks and breaks that have caused some significant damage on Temecula Parkway and disruption, just like you see in the picture, really long lines of traffic, expensive repairs, and really some safety concerns that give us a lot of pause, a lot of concern when we're looking at these things. As we start to realize that we have a buried pipeline that has issues, there can be really some significant concerns along with that. Just the flooding alone, that's pretty obvious, but also just eroding of the roadway beneath it. You can have things like sinkholes and things like that. So when we have issues like this, and we see there really chronic issues in a pipeline, we take it seriously that it's time to take action. We really need to take action. We have that responsibility to do so. And really, when this started in 2012, we saw a series of breaks occur and really took a hard look. We actually did a preliminary study that really looked at all our options. We went down to coupons of the pipeline, corrosion analysis of the soils. We really did a thorough look along this entire stretch of pipeline and really analyzed all our options. We were trying to not have to do a replacement project, to be quite honest with you. Can we line the pipeline? Can we repair the pipeline? What kind of shape is this stretch in? And really, when it came down to it, what we found was the only reliable way to really repair this section, which is about 7,700 feet of steel line, was a replacement project. And a lot of thought went into that, a lot of decision making went into that, and really with the to a mind of the future. I mean, the traffic is likely not going to get better along Temecula Parkway, and we're still a growing community. Wine, this is the access to wine country and places like that. So really not expecting traffic to decrease, and so really deciding that this was the best time to do it. So if you want to go to the next slide, Grace. That shouldn't be it.
That should not be it. Hold on just a second. Give me a second to see what happened. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to reshare my screen. Here it is.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just continue to talk through it. So we actually started this design back in 2017. We completed the design for the replacement, and in 2019, we actually put the project out to bid. And at that time, in 2019, we received 2 bids on the project only, and really elevated bid prices. Initial bid price of about over $6.7 million, which was well above, several $1 million above what we really originally anticipated the cost of the project to be. And so we dug into that really with the interest of our ratepayers, who, it just seemed too expensive to us. But also the feedback we were getting from the contractors was just because of the constraints that were on the project, it was really going to draw out the schedule. So very limited progress that we could make day by day. And so we really decided at that point to kind of take a look at the constraints on the project and really, see if we can do some refinements to really accomplish 2 goals. And that's 1, cost savings for our ratepayers, to try to get the cost of the project down without sacrificing the infrastructure, without sacrificing the pipe that we're going to put in the ground. We were really looking at the long term, but can we change the project constraints such that we could actually reduce the cost, and also trying to reduce the schedule. And that was something that was very important to the city, both the city and us, really to try to reduce those community impacts, get through this thing, let people see progress, make progress, and get this thing over with and in the ground. So went back to the drawing board, made some changes with the city along board with us, and rebid the project actually early this year. In April 2020, we received the bids, and really some good success there. We saw a $2.3 million, really a third of the construction cost cut. And like I said, we cut none of the infrastructure. Pipeline, we didn't cut any valves, no shortcuts on the infrastructure, but really just the constraints on the project, and we're able to reduce those. Really kind of invigorated the bidding process, to be honest, got a lot of interest in the bidding process, and reduced those costs by $2.3 million. And then also reduced the schedule. So an in-street schedule reduction of about 3 months, with some longer working hours along certain portions of the pipeline where we could afford it. And so really some good success there. That being said, I mean, it's great that we've got success on the front end, but we know construction is coming and there is going to be impacts. And so I'm going to turn it over to Casey Arndt now. He's going to talk about really the phasing of the project and really how we set the thing up to construct this thing. So, Casey.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. Yeah. So one of the things that I really want to get out on this meeting today is that, we understand that this project is absolutely going to have some impacts to traffic and to the commuting public. And we've, as Jake alluded to earlier, we've done as much as we can to try to help reduce the duration of the construction on this project. So much so that we've even incentivized the contractor to shorten the contract time as much as possible. So because a couple of things I really want to bring out. First of all, we worked very, very closely with the city of Temecula on putting together this contract and this plan in hopes of, again, trying to reduce the overall construction duration as much as possible. The second thing is it's a phased approach, meaning that there are 4 phases in all. And the important thing is that there's no concurrent work whatsoever. In other words, the work can only go on in one phase at a time. So the traffic control will be limited to that certain phase. So we're trying to keep, again, the work area as small as possible and the impacts as small as possible, but understanding that there certainly is going to be some impacts. And also, we've also put together a detour to utilize Deportola Road as kind of an alternate route to use to help keep traffic flowing as much as possible. So I'm going to talk about the phases, each one individually. So first of all, phase 1, which is the first phase, which will begin sometime mid to late November and go into December. This phase is only from basically I-15 to La Paz Road. So Bedford Court to La Paz Road will actually be putting the pipeline in. And this work is 100% done at nighttime. There will be no daytime work. The days that they'll be working are Sunday to Thursday, so there'll be no work on Friday or Saturday evenings. And the traffic control will be brought down every single day. So again, control will be put up 7 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and then and coming down at 5 a.m. each morning. The second phase, Grace, could you go to the second slide? The second phase, which is what we call 2A, goes from La Paz Road all the way to Temecula Parkway. Again, so now there's going to be no work in that first phase. All of the work will be then contained in this individual phase 2A from La Paz to Pechanga Way. However, this time the traffic control does stay up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, the contractor will only be working Sunday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Those are the work hours. The traffic control, again, is going to stay up full time, but the work is kept to daytime hours, evening hours, so that there's no work overnight to try to help reduce the impacts of nighttime work. And one of the things that is important to note, and the reason why we put the numerical numbers on the lanes on the left-hand side of your screen. So the way that the lanes are numbered is the number 1 lane was the fast lane. The second lane is obviously the next lane to the right. Moving all the way to the right, the last lane would be the slow lane, which is usually it's right next to the bike lane. All of the traffic control in this project will be closing all of the first 3 lanes, or in 2 lanes in some of these phases where it only has 3 lanes. So basically the slow lane, the number 3 and 4 lane, will be the only lane open during the entire phase, or during the entire part of this project. And that's why the impacts, we understand, are going to be pretty great, because we're reducing it all the way down to a single lane. But again, we put together the detour plan to use Deportola as an alternate route. So once the phase 2A is complete in its entirety, we'll move to phase 2B. Next slide, Grace. Or is that the same slide?
This is phase 3.
Okay, so can you go back then? So phase 2B goes from Pechanga Parkway to Jedediah Smith. And again, these work hours are the same as 2A, so that they're, Sunday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. are the work hours. So that's when the construction crews will actually be out doing work or able to do work, but the traffic control itself will be up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So again, we'll be closed down to 1 lane for the entire duration of that phase. Next slide, Grace. The last phase, phase 3, goes from Jedediah Smith Road to Rancho Mirage. And this phase is different from phases 2A and 2B in that it is only daytime work, and the traffic control does come down when they are not working. So the work hours and the traffic control are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So the traffic control will not be up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on this phase, and again, no night work during this phase. And that's kind of a brief overview of all of the phases. And again, I want to make sure that everybody understands that the work is only in a single phase at a single time, and there's never concurrent work in any of the 2 phases at a time. Next slide. So here's the overall map. It shows the alternative route that I spoke of with using Deep Portola Road as an alternate. We encourage everybody to use any means they can to try to find an alternate route away from Temecula Parkway, because understanding that the traffic impacts are going to be there. And we're, again, we're trying to do everything we can to get the contractor moving as quickly as we can and get out of each phase as quickly as we can. And if you have, if there are any questions, I'm certainly available to answer any of those in terms of traffic control or the construction project itself.
Thank you. So now we'll go ahead and go over some Q&A questions that we do have. Here's the concern that we have. The traffic today on Deep Portola averages 55 miles per hour. This will have an impact on both sides for travelers and residents. Casey, would you like to address this concern?
Yeah, and understand, I answered his question earlier about this, but understanding that the speeds on Deep Portola, obviously the speed limit right now is currently 45 miles an hour. So 55 miles an hour is in excess of the posted speed limit. We've worked with the city of Temecula, their understanding, and we're going to work with the city of Temecula Police Department to make sure that the 35 mile an hour, the reduced speed limit, is enforced during the construction phase. So I understand that, slowing down the traffic is going to have some impacts on the commuters, but safety certainly is our first concern.
Great, thank you. Next question is, what is the relationship between this pipeline and the one that broke on Overland in front of Costco? Is the one on Overland also recycled water? If you know, is it similar size, material, and age?
I'll take that one. There is no relationship between this one and the pipeline in Overland. Different materials. They are the same size. Actually, no, the one on Overland is 16. That's actually a 16 inch, so 16 inch and 20 inch. The one on Overland is a potable water pipeline, but it was PVC. It was installed in generally the same time period, mid 90s. That one really exhibited much different issues, though. Not a steel pipeline, it's plastic. Really had some construction defects. Well, two things really on the Overland pipeline. One being, and I think the person who's asking this is familiar, but what we had is overstabbed joints. So we've got 20-inch pipeline that was put together, and really all the failures we saw, and we've had let's see, at least 3 on Overland, and then on Margarita, which was same pipeline material and conditions. I think we've had 2 over there, so 5 breaks in total really in that same area. Those were overstabbed joints and also a thin-walled PVC, something we don't spec anymore. What was the DR on that? 25, DR 25, which we don't spec anymore. The lowest we go is DR 18, which is a thicker walled pipe. We've really seen no problems with those, but so it was kind of an exception to the norm. That pipeline is also being replaced. We've already replaced a portion of it, actually under an emergency, where we saw the most. We saw 3 of the breaks in kind of a smaller section. So we replaced that under an emergency event, 700 feet of it, but we're going to replace the rest as well, and that's happening soon. But really no relationship between this and the Temecula Parkway pipeline other than they have issues. So yeah, that's that one.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Will there be construction around the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year? Or is there a moratorium? If so, from when to when?
And I'll take that one. Unfortunately, I mean, the answer is yes and no. So yes, there will be construction around the holidays in that, again, the phased approach, right? So phase 1 does actually go through the Thanksgiving holiday, but again, that traffic control comes down. So they will not be working over Thanksgiving weekend. So they will not be working the day before Thanksgiving and the day after, the Friday after Thanksgiving, or that weekend. So there'll be no work in phase 1 for the Thanksgiving holiday. Christmas and New Year's does fall under the phase 2A, which is where the traffic control is up 24 hours a day. So that traffic control would remain in place if in fact they're there at that time, which their schedule would be. If they decide to wait, they could do that between the 2 phases. So that's kind of, so they're working. If the traffic control is up in phase 2A for the, but the
Okay, and
I think Casey, I think Casey froze on us. Short
Okay.
answer on that one. Our contract restricts any work on holidays, on actual holidays, and that's either the district or City of Temecula holidays. But the time around the holidays, no, they're allowed to work.
Okay, great. And our next question, how can I stay informed with the project besides these community meetings?
That is a good question. So we are doing a lot to keep everyone informed. We're putting information on our Facebook page, on our website. We're also working very closely with the city to make sure that that information is also on their social media pages and their website. But one of the best ways that you can stay informed throughout the duration of the project is to go to our website, ranchowater.com/pipeline, and there'll be a pop-up box that comes up and you put your email address in there. And that way we can make sure that you stay informed. And then also you can always reach out to me or Sylvia at any time. And our email address is construction@ranchowater.com.
Great.
Looks like there's a couple more questions. There's a couple more questions there too, or at least one.
I do
Just
see.
who's the contractor?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Contractor is EJ Meyer. We had some pretty strict experience requirements within the bid documents, so it really restricted who was, they had to meet the experience requirements. So really demonstrate with their bids that they had experience pipelines in heavily congested areas. So yeah, low bid was EJ Meyer. They've actually done work for the district over the years. They're a reputable contractor and specialize in pipelines such as this. So that's the contractor for the job. I think that's the last question. And we appreciate the insightful questions as well.
Absolutely. We do have one more question. How much, what is this, I'm sorry, what is the speed limit on La Paz or De Portola if there's any reduction?
So currently the current speed limit on De Portola is 45 miles per hour. We're reducing that through construction to 35 miles per hour. La Paz, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I would imagine it's probably 25 miles an hour currently. I'll have to look that up and get back to you, but.
Yeah, that's all. I think that's all residential there. So it's probably already pretty low.
Okay, looks like that is the end of all of our questions in the Q&A. Just want to thank everybody for joining us in this community meeting this evening. Again, like Grace mentioned earlier, we do have our website, which is ranchowater.com/pipeline or construction@ranchowater.com if you have any other questions or if you think of something afterwards. So thank you everyone for joining us.